Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another one of my Robotech RPG Tactics videos. Now, this is a new game. It just came, well, I don't even think it's been released yet. I received my product through the Kickstarter. I backed them on the Kickstarter, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know all about that. And I've been waiting for it for a long time. Okay, the first step was to build an army. That's going to be a topic of another video of how to build an army. But just to briefly go over how to build an army, you have these large cards, and you have to have one large card in your army per 150 points you have in your army. They recommend that a 300-point game which is like 2 cards, plus additional stuff. You know, if I've got the miniatures to do a 450-point army, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a 450-point army. Okay, and this is what I did, and this is just to kind of give you an idea of what models are going to be painted and created by me. Not counting the Zentradi, that's a totally different army. But I have 2 Valkyrie squadrons, of course. I mean, you got a Veritech, it's Robotech, right? And then I have an Area Denial squadron, okay? That has 2 of each, the Tomahawk and the Defender. And then I added, because you have these cards, which are they're kind of like extra add-ons. They or upgrade. They call them upgrades, but technically they're add-ons. And I'm adding on a phalanx of Destroids. Oh yeah, okay. A Destroid squad of phalanx. Okay, so there's 2 of those, and then I'm also adding a Spartan Destroid squad. So right there, I've got 2 Phalanx, 2 Spartan, 2 Defenders, 2 Tomahawk. So I got 2 of every Destroid in my army. Okay, that's 2 of every one of those. So you'll get to see me put together all the Destroids. And then the Valkyries, on each squadron I upgraded 2 of the Valkyries to 1R variants. Okay, so we did that. And then on the Destroids themselves, I added the Command Destroid add-on. And so one of my Destroids will have to have the command module put on his head or whatever. Okay, and in addition to that, I did add a 1S. Okay, a 1S is like, I call it Super Veritech, but we know it's not a Super Veritech, but it's the 1S, and in it I added Roy Fokker. Okay, so I will be painting one of my Veritechs like the Roy Fokker, you know, the black and the white, okay? And so when we get to that, we'll paint that, okay? Okay, well, we're not doing the Veritechs today. We're just doing Destroids. And the first Destroid I'm going to start off with in this first video is going to be the Tomahawk. I want to do the Tomahawk so bad. I've been wanting to put that together for a long time, and now we're going to put that together. Now I saved my force cards. I put my army cards and stuff like that in a Ziploc, but what I've done is I've taken my army that I've built and I put it in a separate Ziploc, so when I go to play I just pull this out and boom, you're done. Okay, so we're going to do the Tomahawk. Now I've got to find, well, first of all, let's talk about preparation. See, in this first video it's probably going to be a lot longer because a lot of this stuff I won't be talking about in the follow-up videos. But I have a cutting board here, so if I ever need to cut with an X-Acto knife, which I have my X-Acto knife kit right here, you can just get a single X-Acto knife, or you can get a whole kit. It's however you like to cut or whatever. I usually keep like a cutting board here also. This is what I used to use before I had a cutting mat, so whatever. But I still keep it to put my models on and stuff like that once they're drying and things like this. Now I have a black board over here, and I usually use this when I get ready to paint. I'll put the models on this, take them outside, and I'll spray paint them. That's what this board's usually for. And this is just a simple canvas board, you know, that I bought. You know, it's like for painting or whatever, but you can see I've cut on it, and it's basically my workbench. Okay. Also, if you go to auctions, onlineauction.com, you can actually find this box of Robotech Tactics. This is my second box because I've already got one here, and that's what all this is from. But this box here is an extra one, and I'm actually auctioning it off on onlineauctions.com. And you can go to ola.com, it's a lot easier. Okay, so, well, we know we need 2 bases for these guys. Now let's go ahead and find the models. I think that's that right there. Yep, that looks like a Tomahawk. And I am thinking about making one of the Tomahawks the command Tomahawk too, because I don't know, it's just something about the Tomahawk that this makes it seem like it should be in command. Make sure you bring out your assembly instructions so you don't get all confused. And then find the Tomahawk. Yeah, that's it. And then what I'm going to be using is some sprue snips. Now you can get I got these sprue snips from, I think, Squadron, but you can probably get these at your local hardware store. What they are is they're like, they're not snips that cut like this. They're snips that cut just like that. They cut straight like this, and they're beveled on the inside, but they're perfectly flat on the outside. So let me see if you guys can kind of see that. You see, like right there, they're beveled on the inside, but they're perfectly flat on that side. So when you cut the sprue, you get a flat, flush cut. And you want to put the flat side against your model piece and the beveled side against the sprue that you're leaving behind. Now I plan to cut all the pieces off the sprue first, and then what I'll have is a pile of parts and no sprue. Alright, what I've done so far is I've cut them off the sprues, and that only took about 15 minutes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the X-Acto knife and we're going to trim the edges on these before we start gluing anything together. This is the preparation to assembly. Okay, I found that something pretty cool about the Tomahawk. They give you these an option to have the missile pods on the shoulders either open or closed, your choice. What I didn't realize, what I was doing is I cut all 4 of the opens because there's 2 halves. There's only an option to have 2 shoulders open because it looks like you glue these side by side. Now if you do the opens, you're going to be using less of the closed pieces because it's one or the other. So what you're going to need is what I found you're going to need is you're going to have a few extra pieces laying around, like because I have an extra command console because it just happens to come with 2, so I have 1 extra command console. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that in my bit box, and I'm going to put 2 of the closed shoulders in the bit box because we've already got 2 of the open shoulders, and then 2 of the closed shoulders. Okay, there we go. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is make 1 Tomahawk with open, of course, and 1 Tomahawk with closed. Now the question is, which one of those am I going to put the command module on? So make sure you have a bit box. And what I use is just a simple cracker box. I actually saved these boxes just because of the perfect size for storage of anything. I actually have like 5 or 6 of these boxes. So what I use, I'm using one of these for my extra bits. So I'm going to zoom in to the parts, and I'm going to kind of show you a technique that I've been using for years to clear flash on models. Okay, I'm only going to do about 5 or 6 for the camera, and then I'll do the rest, and we'll come back to do some assembly. How about that? So I'm going to pull a gun out that I can see straight off the bat that it's pretty gnarly. Okay, you take a look right there. I'm going to zoom in. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. See how that's got that cut right there? Those 2 little sprue marks? That might have been the one I cut off with the X-Acto knife. On the inside, I don't know if my camera can focus on that. Yeah, but on the inside right there, there's a flash line right there. We're going to scratch that off too. Okay, and So, now, and on the shoulder joint, come on camera, there you go, right there, the shoulder joint right there has got a little piece of the sprue on them right there. We're gonna get rid of all that. Okay, so the way I do that is I take my X-Acto knife and I don't cut it, you know, like with the blade. I don't chop it off with the blade. What I do is I take my back side of the blade and I drag it across there, and what it does is it kind of scratches the plastic. It's like taking, if you have your models here, I don't take the X-Acto knife and cut. What I do is I drag it and basically do one of these numbers, you know, and I take the X-Acto knife and I drag it and I cut it off like that. So, except with these two little pieces right here, they're just way too big. They're not flash. I mean, they're not flash. They're actual plastic pieces that stick up. Okay, so they've been pretty much cut down, but you can still kind of see it. So what I do is I take my X-Acto knife and I drag. Until it smooths out, because you want it to okay. There's some discoloration. But sometimes you get that even if it is flat. Okay, now I'm gonna take the flash off of that guy. Okay, so now mold lines, whoop, on the inside. Yep, that's gone. That's gone, that's gone. Okay, gone. I don't know, the camera just went all crazy and got all fuzzy on me and stuff. Okay, this doesn't really, the foot doesn't really have a whole lot of flash lines, but they are visible. So I drag my knife across it using the back side of the blade. It's just a gradual, it just takes the pieces and cleans them gradually. You don't want any major cuts. You want just the flash, and you want it all to be smooth. Even if you trim a little off of what shouldn't be trimmed off, what you're doing is because with the mold lines, what you get, let me see if I can do this with my hands. With mold lines, what you get is one piece of the plastic is a little bit higher than the other. And when you drag your blade across it, what it does is it brings that little edge down so that everything's smooth. But sometimes you bring both edges down, but that's okay as long as everything stays smooth. Because that's what you're going to notice. You're going to notice the line if you start painting. You're going to see, it'll make it even stand out even more. And sometimes you got a little residue from your scrapings, like sawdust. You want to make sure you clean all that off, because if you paint it with that just sitting there, it'll all of a sudden stick to it and then become a feature on your model, and you don't want that. Okay, this is the hardest, most tedious part about the whole thing, about putting your model together, is trimming the flash lines. Don't worry about it. It should only take you about 10 or 15 minutes to do it. These models are extremely easy. Don't be intimidated when you see that there's 100 parts on a sprue, because there's really not. This guy is probably only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right around 17 parts total. That's counting both sides of the legs, both feet, both arms. Yeah, so don't even stress it. This guy's walking. Hold on. He is different than these guys. These guys are just standing straight up and down. This guy is walking. Sometimes it's good to double check the sprue because that one still needs a little bit of scraping. So out of all 4 feet, only one of them are up on his toes like that. You know, like, you can't really see like that. And so I'll have to try to figure out how that goes. And again, remember this first video of assembling the models are going to be a lot longer because I'm showing you all the details. I'm not going to show you all these details when it gets to assembling the other models because it would just be repetitious. Go straight into it. I just want to play. I just want to play, man. Okay, putting these arms together. Well, this one arm here is got the guns like on an elevated position. That's kind of cool. Okay. So they're kind of posable. Once you start putting these together, you're going to get a little bit of different variety of poses. Plus, depending on how you glue the shoulder onto the body, will determine, you know, if he's raising his arm or if it's like lowered. All right, now we're at the moment of truth where we need to start assembling these models. But I don't want to glue them together on top of my cutting mat. So what I'm going to do is bring this bad boy over. I'm going to slide this over this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue on this. Okay, we'll use that over there. That's no problem. We're going to follow the instructions. Now, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use super glue. Bought this at my local railroading store. It looks like I want to start assembling certain pieces that go together before they get assigned to something else. I'm going to show you the assembly. It's this model right there. That's the Tomahawk, and of course there's glare on it. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, you can take a look at all the pieces that I'm putting together and where they're going. Pretty simple. It doesn't look too hard. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in on the wood. Okay, we zoomed in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to start just gluing certain pieces together that go together. And the first things I want to start with are the legs. Now we have probably 8 pieces of legs. Remember, this is just for the Tomahawk, 2 Tomahawks. Okay, now which legs go which? Okay, let's go with the... Now if you look on the inside, you have pin and holes. So I'm going to put all the pins on one side and all the holes on the other. Just to help me out. Okay, do all of these look like they go together? I mean, there should be one leg that's kicked. Okay, there is a gap. When I put these two sides, these two halves together, there's like a gap between the left and the right portion of the leg, and it's pretty pronounced. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to fill those gaps. Okay, but that's not going to be too much of a problem. Let's go ahead and apply some glue to these guys. Remember, super glue and these type of plastic models, you do not need to coat every single area of the model. You just need to kind of give it a very light coat. Now, instead of just putting like a piece of glue in the hole and letting the pin in the hole hold it together, I'm putting it around the edge of the model so that when the model's glued together, the glue might fill those gaps that I was talking about earlier. You know, zap the gap. Okay. Okay, that was the legs. Now, before we go to the feet and start assembling, what we're going to do is we're going to put the waists together. Okay. We got 2 different styles of the waist. So that's one is the front, one's the back, hopefully. These two look like they fit together pretty good. Okay, that's good. That's a good sign. Now, this one doesn't have a pin and a hole, but what it has is like a ridge line that fits inside. It's like a slot A and slot B, if you know what I mean. What's kind of cool about this super glue too is as soon as you touch the models to it, they're pretty much glued. Remember, don't get any super glue on your fingers. You're going to be stuck to the model or to your other fingers. What other things need to be glued together before they can be glued onto the model? Well, the 6-pack of rockets. How about that? Okay. Now this shows that you got to glue the cannons, the particle projection cannons, to the upper arm, which you don't have to do in the model. So this is an old assembly instruction. But let's go ahead and put together the main torso. The main torso, very unusually, has a front and 2 backs for some reason. Let's try to piece these backs together. Okay, we got left backs and right backs, I think. And they do have a slot and a hole, like a hole. Okay, cool. Well, the backs go together just like that. And then the front, I take it, kind of goes over it and holds it all together. Okay. So we'll put the backs together real quick. Okay, that should do it for those guys. So now we'll take the original, and that's the back, and this is the front. There's like this big, huge pin, which will go into that, and the back slides over that. Front. Okay, why is it acting like it's being a fool? Acting like it's way too narrow. Okay. Scratch that a little bit. Yeah, I've noticed that on the torso, the front, that's the front of your model, that they have these two little shoulder pieces that, go over, and they're too tight on the back portion of the model. So I'm trying to mod it a little bit, scratch it, which will actually take, you know, a very small percentage of the plastic off, so that when I do go to put it on the model, fits in there nice and snug. Okay. All right. Welcome back. What we're going to do now is we're going to glue the hips directly to the torsos. They're a separate piece, so you can actually twist or turn the torsos how you see fit, I guess, if you feel that you want to have more of a pose to your Destroid. The first one I'm just going to glue straight on, just because he's just going to be standing there gunning it down with the opponent, you know. But my second one, I think I am going to twist it just slightly, just so it looks like he's got a little turn to his step, or he's got a little, you know, he's like torso twisting a little bit. Which way? How about to the left? No, how about a little bit to the right? Yeah, a little bit to the right I think would be good. Okay, so we got the hips glued to the torso. Now I need to do legs and feet before I do the arms, is what I'm thinking. Okay, neither one of these are perfectly straight. Okay, that's great. That's okay. Okay, a couple of these legs have got those missile pods. Oh, they all have missile pods. Okay, well at least it helps me to tell me which one's the outside leg and which one's the inside leg. At least turning these pins down a little bit, because they're keeping the leg from resting against the torso. I say torso, but I mean hip. Lower torso. Okay, stepping back, I feel it's important that I put the legs in the feet before I start mounting them into the torso, because I want to make sure that the guy is standing straight up and not like leaning forward or something like that. The pinholes, or the pins that go into the feet are extremely tight, so you will need to trim those a little bit, because you push it in and it wants to push it right out. So now I take my torsos and I take my legs and I try to find the legs and the torsos that kind of match up, or the legs and the hips that match up just right? Okay. Wait a second, what? Really? Okay, I'm gonna give these guys about 10 minutes to dry, and then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll finish it up. All right, I didn't give them 10 minutes. I gave them about 4 to 5 minutes actually. It's because I'm impatient. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and glue them on to their bases before I add any of their arms or shoulder equipment, just because that'll strengthen the legs to the hip joint. And I am gonna put terrain texture on the bases, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to put the terrain texture and stuff like that after I've whoa, do I want to glue these guys down with super glue? I think I do. My pewter models I glue onto their bases normally with just simple Elmers. He's cruising along. Yeah, I do plan to put, especially on the Destroids, I plan to put like gravel, this gravel material that I found I'm going to use. And this guy, because he is kind of torso twisting, I'm going to turn the feet just slightly to make the torso more towards the front. Yeah, if something doesn't fit right, don't be afraid to cut a little bit off of something or dig a little bit deeper on the holes or something, just so you can get it to fit right. But be careful not to damage the model itself. Little tabs and stuff, you can damage those. It's no big deal. Okay, now headlights. If you put too much, it'll never dry. Stick to your fingers, cause all kinds of problems. All you really usually need is just a drop. But what I tend to do is put enough that when I push it, it kind of squeezes out a little bit close to the edge, so it kind of fills in any of the gaps. That's the way I like to glue. Okay, the only thing really I've got left is the shoulders, the arms, and the command module. I'm not giving him the command module. He is too far out there. Okay, where's this? How is this command module supposed to hook onto this thing? There's supposed to be a tab that sticks off the command module. This command module has the tab. This one doesn't. Okay. Okay, so we got one model with the headlight on it right there, as you can kind of see. Now I'm going to put the command module in the same spot where the headlight would go on this model. Yep. So let's just go ahead and put a little glue on this thing. And then let's put that guy in there, pull him out. put it back and hold. Count to 20. There, now you can kind of see I got a guy with a command module on him. That's pretty cool. Alright. And I got this extra headlight. Let's take. Okay, so now we got, I want to do the shoulders. I'm basically saving the arms for last. Okay. I think I want to have, I don't know which one of these is going to have the open rockets. I wanted to have this guy with the open rockets because I wanted to give this guy the command module. Right, I didn't want to have two, but with this guy kind of leaning forward and gunning, he can still have the rockets. I'm going to close this guy up. Or he could have the rockets. And this guy's so, yeah, so I don't know. On this shoulder. On this shoulder. And let's just drop these in. Very nice. Very nice. That's the one with the closed shoulders. And that's the one with the open rockets, exposed shoulders. Oh, can you see that? Okay, let's do that. Pretty good so far, huh? Okay, I'm liking it. Okay, so you got two of them with them reaching forward, and then you got two of them with them pulled back. I think that the guy that's running should be kind of pulled back and reaching forward. What do you think? Pulled back. I think I figured it out. Both of the ones where you're reaching it forward and, or holding it low is going to go on the guy that's running, and then the guy that's just standing there with it perpendicular to the ground, I think, is the one that's going to be just standing there with the missiles open. So let's see. These balls look like they will fit pretty good no matter what. Super fast, super easy. Super fast. Okay. Man, this one, Destroid's like animated. He's like all over the place. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I could have held it low. Yep, it looks good low like that. Bam, and they're done. There you go. We finished this one, and we finished that one. We finished them both in basically 2 hours. It took me to assemble those and put them together in detail with cleaning the sprues, cleaning the flash, cleaning the edges, and then assembly. And now all I have to do is prime them and paint them. And that's going to be my very first Robotech models put together. Yay! Okay. Now, I realize that if I do these videos, all the next videos are going to be a lot faster because you already know how to clean and all that stuff, how to score the models and how to cut them off the sprues and all that stuff. So any future assembly videos are going to be straight from the actual gluing forward. And that way you'll get to see and experience the same things that I experienced, all the hardships and the trials, and to get them to be put together. Because these guys, even though they look pretty dang awesome, they weren't easy to put together. I don't consider this to be an easy model to put together. It took 2 hours to. It only took an hour to cut everything out and everything, but it didn't even take that long to cut everything out. It took probably 30 minutes to cut everything out. So, yeah. So I'll edit this down as much as I can so that we only give maybe an hour video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but hey, and remember, every Wednesday or so I'm going to be putting together Robotech models. I'll either be painting, or I'll be assembling, or I'll be making terrain. But basically, I will be doing that every Wednesday. I might be doing it throughout the week. If I do, I'll be sure to upload them, you know, on YouTube. But you can guarantee that you're going to get at least one video a week, and it's going to be on Wednesday. Remember, you can get my Robotech RPG Tactics box here on online auctions or onlineauction.com. If you're watching this video a year from now, it's probably already going to be sold. So, but if you're watching it when I upload it, it's currently still on there. So jump on it. If not, no big deal. All right. Well, thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and I love you guys. And I can't wait to get some of these models put together so that I can review the rules with you. I'll see you on the table.